AJ LaSelva with you. Hays Carlyon on vacation. A couple more days. Rest of the week, I guess I should say. And then he'll be back in next week. But I'm kind of wandering off a little bit. Rainy day today. But listen, I had a walk-off event. We have our big walk-off invitational 4th of July baseball tournament. We've got 10 fantastic 18U teams out there playing. So I had to kind of help out with that. So, JJ, I wasn't here for the grilling extravaganza, but I hear it was nothing less than spectacular. Is that true?
Yes. Big shout out to your wife.
Yeah.
Who made she made 3 desserts, and they were all fantastic. I'm not sure what the pie. It was pie-ish.
It was. They're actually sort of. They're supposed to be kind of cut into brownies. Is that the one you?
Okay, it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't cut into brownies, but I liked it all the same.
Yeah. So I went home and I said, "Listen, we're having a grill thing, and I think the Frangie Show has been assigned desserts." And I said, "So we have to make a dessert." And my wife goes, "Well, I'll make 3." I said, "We don't need 3. Just make a dessert. Make it like a real." She goes, "I'm making 3." So that's why you got 3. She decided a dessert meant 3 desserts. So there was like peach cobbler.
And I appreciate that.
There was a pineapple cake.
The pineapple cake was probably my favorite.
Yeah, and then she does these little kind of golden brownie type things that aren't really chocolate. They're gold. They're fantastic.
And I said before the vote that, listen, I work on this show. I'm probably going to vote for this, regardless of how it tastes.
Okay,
but it was delicious.
Turned out good anyway.
Yes,
okay.
and I have a little bit of beef with the contest, because this was like a wild card round.
Okay,
and so it was your wife's dessert versus pulled pork.
Oh, okay.
And you will never be in a situation where you have to decide between tasty treat desserts or pulled pork.
I got you.
They're very, I don't know. They're not similar at all.
They're really not. But we appreciate everybody. I heard the cooking was fantastic, though, not just her dessert.
Yeah, shout out to everybody. It was a blast.
I heard it was our friend Duval Doom was in there cooking it up, and a lot of folks were in there. So thank you to all the folks that were kind enough to come by and cook. And it was a fun day. We do a lot of fun stuff like that around here, and my wife was happy to make the desserts. I will tell you this. And I told Mia and Taylor kind of ran it, so their office is kind of next to mine. And so I went in and told them I brought it. She had all these desserts, JJ, so I had to bring them in this like big cooler box thing. It's like a cooler but a box. Make sense? That's why I call it a cooler box.
Yeah, I see where you're going with
so
that.
I brought it in, and I didn't think much of it. It's this cooler box. So we took it out, and Mia goes, "Hey, I like that cooler box. Tell Suzanne I love her box." Okay, I will. So I left and went home. And not thinking much of it, I left it here because I'm not particularly smart. And so walked in the door. I mean, like one step in the door.
Do you have it? Where is it?
Where's the box? I said, it's not in the car. It doesn't appear to be in my hand. So I think it's in my office, but I don't know. He said, "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to make sure I don't lose that cooler box. We good?"
Absolutely.
And I said, "You know what? I think that is a hell of an idea." So I immediately texted, not kidding, I immediately texted Mia and Taylor.
Secure the box.
Whatever you do, secure the box. Okay, so the box is now back in my car. I got here today and I raced it back to the car. And so now, so there. So I dodged a very difficult time.
Thank God.
So there is that. All kind of fun stuff to do today on the program. Glad you're with us. A little bit rainy out there. I do want to invite you if you want to watch baseball. 10 18U teams, all Jacksonville based. A lot of high school players that you've probably heard of and seen play. They're playing their travel seasons now. Not necessarily the ones that are headed to college. Although we have a team tonight that's got like 9 commitments, a few Division I, and so. But we'd love to have you come see our walk-off travel team, which is all minority players. Plays tonight I think the game's going to start it's supposed to start at 6. I think it's going to start around 7 now. So if you want to see really good baseball, it's free of charge. We have a great concession stand going. I will invite you to the Bragan Baseball Complex. It's at Fort Family Park, right off. It's on East Bay Meadows, just off of I-295 there. And we'd love to have you come by if you haven't seen our park. It's a fun night at the ballpark. It rained a little bit, but it's supposed to clear now, and it's beautiful out there. So you'll get to see our walk-off scout team play. You hear me talk about them all the time. Against a very good team that's got a bunch of commitments, and we can't wait for that. And there's baseball all day long, 5 games a day. So if you love baseball, we're doing today 5 games a day, 5 games a day. Tomorrow, 4th of July, we're playing in the morning. Then we have a cookout for all the players and a home run derby, and then we resume play 5 games a day on Friday. So if you love baseball, that's a plug to come watch a really good baseball tournament. JJ, you're not far away. You ought to stop by at some point. Watch some really good baseball out there.
I'm down for that.
So it's really good stuff. Hey, a lot of things we'll talk about today on the program. A fun array of guests. Matt Taylor, the play-by-play voice of the Indianapolis Colts. I told you we're going to go around the divisions a little bit this week. Matt Taylor joins me in just about 15 minutes or so, and he's going to talk really a great deal about the Colts. The Colts are really interesting. I'm going to get into Anthony Richardson. In fact, I'm going to start the program with that. But the Colts are an interesting story. We all know that the Texans are the team that everybody expects will be very good in the division. We talked about them yesterday with Mark Vandermeer, their play-by-play guy. The Colts are a little bit of a wild card. Had a winning record last year, and so almost made the playoffs. And they did it without Anthony Richardson, who's their 4th overall pick. But Richardson's a really interesting story, and I want to get to that coming up in a minute. I'll start the show with that. My friend Mike Fleming is here from Firewatch. Firewatch is a fantastic group. Brigadier General Mike Fleming, 36 years in the military. He now is in civilian life, if you will, but he's really helping veterans with their life. I think you know by now, you've heard us tell the numbers, but we'll say it again when Mike gets here, that veteran suicide is a real problem. And Mike is with a group that's trying so hard to mitigate that. So Mike comes by before all the military holidays and just tells us a little bit about it and how you can help, and we're proud to be part of that. He'll be by at 4:40. And then my friend Jessica Blaylock's going to check in. Jessica travels all over the place. She is a sideline reporter for both the Panthers and the Marlins. She was just in Italy at a destination wedding, just got back. She had a great time covering the Panthers, and she's so excited about their championship. And now she's got the Marlins tonight. She's working sidelines as the Red Sox are in Miami. So she'll join us a little bit on the program as well. So we got all kind of fun stuff. So we got all kind of stuff we're going to get to today on the program. Glad you're with us for this edition of our program on Tuesday. Always brought to you, as you know, by my friends at the Nimnick family of dealerships. So stopping by is going to be an awful lot of fun. By the way, I'll get to this later in the show, JJ, with you. Did you see where Michael Thompson is bummed out, really bummed out that Clay could have picked the Lakers but didn't? You see that story?
I didn't, but I believe it. He's the radio guy, as well as former player there, and of course his father.
Yeah.
I'm
bummed out too. I'm bummed out too.
Are you?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I like the fit either place.
Yeah.
But Dallas just looked like they had a little bit more fight in them last season. So I don't hate either place.
Yeah, and obviously they're a better team. They went to the finals, and the Lakers didn't get very far. But I want the Lakers to have one more run with LeBron. Bronny's not good. I think
from your lips to God's ears, brother.
Yeah, me
too.
Yeah, one more run, one good run, and you and I are kind of on the same page here. The Bronny thing doesn't bother me at all. LeBron's earned the right to play with his kid. It's a 2nd-round pick. They don't impact the league very much anyway.
Right.
But Bronny's not going to affect the championship. But I would like to see. Man, I was hoping one more guy, because Klay Thompson there, when you've got to defend his perimeter game, makes AD and LeBron and whoever else pretty good.
And they don't have that guy.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to probably wait till around trade deadline-ish time to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
But I don't think there are runs over there. I think they still are able to do some things, move some players around. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. I definitely think it would have been huge for them to get Clay, just as a guy that can sit around in the corner and drill threes.
Yeah, and because he's that, you have to defend you would have had to defend the Lakers.
Somebody's got to be out there.
Right. The same way you got to defend the Mavs differently now. Listen. Luka and Kyrie plus Clay, look, they almost won the damn thing this year. I mean, so that
imagine instead of P.J. Washington in the corner shooting threes, who I like the guy, but now you have Klay Thompson.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to watch. I kind of wish you with the Lakers. We'll talk more about that coming up later on. I'm going to start the program. Matt Taylor's going to join me, the voice of the Colts, in a few minutes. So I'm going to start with the whole Anthony Richardson thing. I got thinking about this. Anthony Richardson is one of only 8 players the Florida Gators have ever had drafted in the top 10. They've had 8 players ever taken in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Can you name any of them, by the way? How many can you name of the players that the Gators had taken in the top 10?
In the history?
Yeah, of all time. Gator players taken in the top 10. How many off the top of your head?
Well, the most recent is what's his name? The tight end from Atlanta.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts went 4th overall. But you're proving my point. It's hard to come up with them, right? I mean, it's not like
wasn't there a guy for the Jags and the Gators back in the day?
Yeah, obviously Fred Taylor went in the top 10. You're thinking of Dante Fowler, who was 3rd overall.
Yes.
But the point I'm making is, and you validated, and I think the same. I know because I'm a Gator guy, right? but if you're not a Gator fan, if you're living in Kansas City or Detroit, you can't think of very many top 10 drafted Gators. There have been some really good pros. Emmitt Smith went 17th overall. That turned out okay. There have been some really good players, but there have only been 8 guys ever taken in the top 10 and only 5 taken in the top 5 in the history of the program. There's only been 5
I'm
ever
shocked
taken.
by that until I think about it, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not.
That's right, same. And so only 5 in the history of the program, and one of them's this guy, Anthony Richardson, who, if you really think about it, barely played at Florida. If you really think
and
about
when he wasn't exactly beloved.
He wasn't. He certainly had some magnificent moments, and history might show that he was better than he got credit for being. But, this is a guy that started 13 games in college. 13. That's it. He had 13 career starts as a college player, had a losing record as a starting quarterback, 6-7, and was the 4th overall pick in the draft. And quite frankly, certainly for fans around here, because it's our division, may have a gigantic impact, good or bad, on the NFL and specifically this division. It's really just an interesting, if you really think about it, it's a fascinating story that this kid from Gainesville East Side, who wasn't super heavily recruited, 3-star, I want to say, that probably should have played at Florida well before he did. Ed Mullen was loyal to Emory Jones, and Richardson probably should have been playing, as we all know. But it's just a fascinating story that this guy we barely got to know in Gainesville, and by all accounts, we know him better on this program or on this station because Denny Thompson, who's a buddy of all of ours, and an all-time good guy, worked so closely with Anthony that we felt like we knew him better. But realistically, a guy that the college football world hardly got to know, played in 24 games, started 13 of those, had a losing record. Florida never had much of a team when he was there. All of a sudden is so important to the NFL. It's really a crazy story if you think about that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program. So today, Matt Taylor joins us in just a few moments. He is the play-by-play voice of the Indianapolis Colts. My friend Mike Fleming from Firewatch is in right after him, the segment after that. Jessica Blaylock after that at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk all things Panthers, Marlins, and all things Jessica, all that coming up in just a bit. It's a Nimnick Tuesday. Got a lot to do. Glad you're with us. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show
from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Want more Jags? Subscribe to the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel. Looking for more in-depth coverage of the Gators? Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Need your FSU fix? Well, subscribe to the 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel. Your favorite team, one specific location.
It's time to fire up your grill, shoot off some fireworks, and launch one of the biggest sales in the history of the United States. It's our independent sale happening right now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet. Whether you drive a car, a truck, or an EV, everyone is welcome to celebrate our independent sale with the lowest prices, largest inventory, and the most love for our country. Come celebrate with Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. You don't want to miss this.
Nothing has a 10-year warranty except for a new AC unit from Vons. V-O-N-S. Vons Amazing 10. This is legit. A full 10-year warranty. It covers parts, labor, and refrigerant. That's an unmatched commitment they make to their customers, while others will charge extra for weekend and same-day emergencies. Not at Vons. No extra charges. Just great service when you need it, whether your unit needs to be repaired or replaced. Remember, if your AC won't turn on, just call Vons.
This is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. We've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. Well, MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here, and it's changing the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands. I love the roulette. It's so much fun. It is so easy, and you can't find it anywhere that's better than MyBookie. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Don't miss out on the revamped MyBookie Casino. Use promo code 1010XL. Don't forget that. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey, it's Matt Hays, and I have exciting news from Leonard Truck Outfitters, now with 2 great locations to get that truck hooked up. Beach Boulevard just past Southside and one on Blanding. I got my truck taken care of, and you should too. Leonard Truck Outfitters, your truck, your style.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like you heard about a July 4th sale. It's a great chance to red, white, and do that job you've been putting off. Like an oil change with full synthetic motor oil. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum with an STP extended life oil filter for just $34.99. Save on oil, wash and wax, and more this weekend at AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Don't just watch the position, learn the position.
Denny Thompson is the quarterback whisperer, and he knows.
We invite you into the lab so that you can truly learn the quarterback position.
Friday mornings on The Drill, brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010XL.
There are so many ways you can catch me, Mia O'Brien.
Helmets and Heels.
Weekdays, noon to 2.
And on 1010XL's video and social channels. All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
It's Mo Time with Mo Bryan.
On 1010XL.
Salute for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
It's the coolest week to save during the summer fan sale at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off all fans at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Showroom near the Avenues.
Hey folks, Micken here for Zero Res. You and I know Zero Res loves cleaning carpets in your home. But did you know Zero Res can also clean the carpets where you work? Take a look at the floors where you work, and if they need cleaning, suggest to the boss they call Zero Res. For the month of July, Zero Res offering 20% off all commercial carpet cleaning. Call Zero Res, and they'll come out and give you a free estimate on what it will take to get the job done. Zero Res, man, you spell it forward. Zero Res, you spell it backwards. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
David Lane here again for Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. After several surgeries for age-old issues, mainly my back and shoulders, there's no doubt that Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is my sustaining resource for living pain-free. Take it from me, and I'm being really honest here, there's no better orthopedic facility here in Jacksonville.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Lauren Brooks here to tell you that Mayport CNC Fisheries has bottle rocket oysters to celebrate the 4th. These salty oysters will help you celebrate the right way. Restaurant owners, Mayport CNC Fisheries is your wholesale seafood go-to. Celebrate independence like a local from Mayport CNC Fisheries.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the Voice of the Day.
Now hear this.
Presented by South State Bank. Welcome to Banking Forward.
Hey, welcome back to the program. Glad you're with us. Frank Frangie with you. Hays Carlyon has the week off. He'll be back in next week. But we've been going around the division a bit, and I love catching up with my pal Matt Taylor, the terrific play-by-play voice of the Indianapolis Colts, who joins us now on the program. Matt, how are you, man?
Good, Frank. What's going on, brother? Always good to be with you.
And it's great to have you here. How's your summer? Is it like hot in Indy now? Is it mild? What do you got up there?
No, it's amazing that I can live in the same place in the wintertime where it's -5 and 95 in the summer. Like, how is that possible? But that's where we're at right now. But I was actually down in your neck of the woods, down in Clearwater, this past week or the week that just wrapped up. So down in Florida for a couple days, and then good to be back here in Indy.
All right, well, let's get caught up a little bit. There's something you and I talk when we talk about the Colts, and we've been going kind of around the division a little bit. You had pointed out to me, gosh, how long it's been since the Colts won this division, right? 14 or whenever it was. It was just 10 years, right, give or take? But
2014, right.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that. The Colts don't feel inept to me. You know what? Does that make sense? I mean, some teams, if you say it's been forever since they've won something, well, yeah, because they've been a disaster. I mean, we've gone through a lot of that here. But I would never think of the Colts as a team that have been inept, because they haven't been, which is why it's odd that it's been a while. Does that make sense? It's odd that it's been a while since the Colts have won it, because they have not been a disaster of a franchise, even during this stretch, I don't think. Do you see it that way?
Well, I think it's a good perspective on an outsider's point of view on the Colts. I mean, internally, here in the market in Central Indiana, the natives are getting restless because what they were used to was 12-4 and win the division every year and go to the playoffs with Peyton Manning, and then that was followed by Andrew Luck and his success, especially within the division. But I do see your point, and that's good perspective to have sometimes when you think about how the Colts have had this carousel of quarterbacks since Andrew Luck's retirement. I think it's actually kind of a feather in their cap. They were able to weather that storm as well as they did, actually, because they never really – I want to say they never truly bottomed out, but that 2022 season felt like it was, kind of a rock bottom season where they were 4-12 and the Matt Ryan experiment just didn't work, and missing the playoffs, and that's kind of what it is going into this season in terms of expectations, Frank. I mean, there's really not that there's ever excuses, but there's really no excuse this year to not really be competitive and make the playoffs and contend for an AFC South division title, because you've got the quarterback, at least you think you've got the quarterback figured out. He's got a lot of growth that he needs to show, but the ceiling is just enormous. But then you've got the core of the team. I've never seen anything like it, Frank. You bring back all 22 starters. You bring back all 11 on offense, all 11 on defense. You signed a boatload of your own in-house free agents. So the core of this team is here. They think they've got, Shane Steichen, the great play caller, the great head coach, the guy that is going to hold the team accountable. They've got that important position in place. So it's time. And Chris Ballard, the GM, at the end of last year, talked about it. It's time to start winning divisions again, right? They haven't won one since 2014. He's been there since 2017. In that time, they've only won one playoff game. So they never kind of feel like, they're on a verge of a 2-and-whatever type season, but they just haven't been able to get over the hump, honestly, since Andrew Luck's retirement.
And your point about everyone returning, too, to be clear, that's returning from a team with a winning record, and it was probably one play away from the playoffs. I want to get to Anthony Richardson in this year in a second, but one final thing about last year. I wonder, is there a psychological hangover from how close they were in that game against the Texans in the fourth down call? We all remember the play. You and I have talked about it since. That Gardner Minshew threw the ball a little bit behind the guy, and as a guy that hadn't played a lot, and
right.
I felt bad for all of them because I thought the Colts played well in that game. Is there a psychological hangover from that, or is that was last year and no one's thinking about it? We've moved forward.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's probably a better question for the players, but I think if there was a hangover, I think it's probably over by now, because you've turned the page from 2022 to 2023 with the draft, and you've had the off-season workout program. But there has been, and I think it's probably good, I think it's probably healthy, there has been some, and you've seen it, I'm sure, on social media. That's the age in which we live in, right? But right. You've seen some podcast clips of C.J. Stroud having things to say for the Colts defense and vice versa. And I can't keep score. I don't know who started it. I don't know where it comes from. But I do think that because of, some young, really, really high potential head coaches, and you've got the quarterbacks and you've got the nucleus of both teams in a really good spot, I do think that there's a really good chance for the Colts and Texans rivalry to really, really heat up again, kind of like it was in the earlier part of the 2010s, if you will. And then that's not to say that the Colts-Jaguars rivalry is going anywhere either.
Right.
But I do think that the Texans and the Colts is going to be really, really fierce. And, it's the scene of the crime. You go back to Week 18 last year at Lucas Oil Stadium. That was the win and you're in game. The Colts fell short. And then here we go again, Week 1, Lucas Oil Stadium, right out of the gate, Colts and Texans. So that's going to be some must-see TV or must-see football right out of the gate for the Colts. It's a good barometer game. It's a good litmus test game right out of the gate for this team to see where they're at, if they can piggyback off the success they had last year, even though they missed the playoffs.
Yeah, and that does. The schedule maker's got a sense of humor. I agree with you. For that to be the very next game, you're exactly right. Let's get to Anthony Richardson. We saw him so much around here. I was talking about it before we brought you on. What an interesting guy. An enigma for sure. Intriguing. The guy that only started 13 games in college, and we see every Gator game around here. I'm a Florida guy, but everybody around here, they're an hour from our radio station, as you know, Matt. We see every Gator game. He had a losing record as a college quarterback and didn't play very many games. Yet he's such an immense talent, and he's such a good dude, and he works really hard. And it's hard for us to root for him because you're in the division, right? But if this was an NFC North team, everybody around here would be rooting like crazy for the guy, because there's so much good about him, but honestly, so much unknown too, Matt. Isn't it interesting that there's so much unknown, yet the ceiling, to your point, is so incredibly high with Anthony Richardson?
No doubt about it. Yeah, to your point, if he was playing for the Seahawks, you guys have a Seattle, radio affiliate in your market, right?
That's so true. Yeah.
But I'll do you one better. I'll one up you even more, Frank. He's only played in 17 games past high school.
Wow.
I mean, think about that.
Started. Wow.
He's the face of an NFL franchise, and a franchise that's had a lot of success in the last couple of decades at that. And so he just had his 22nd birthday in May, which is ludicrous considering the amount of pressure and responsibility that's on his shoulders, as all NFL quarterbacks have to deal with, right? But, yeah, it's insane how much you don't know about Anthony Richardson, considering his talent is so tantalizing. But I do think with that, I mean, here's all the numbers from last year, right? He played 173 snaps, which is about 15% of the team's overall offensive snaps from last year, 84 pass attempts. But the guy scored 7 touchdowns in less than 3 games. He accounted for 7 touchdowns in less than 3 games, right? That's rushing and throwing touchdowns. So he's got so much upside, but I do think that there's going to be times this season where you're going to have like the rookie speed bumps again, just because he missed 13 games last year and just has to go through those rookie experiences for the first time. And I hope I'm wrong, but I think there's going to be probably some times in crunch time where those rookie mistakes kind of show up. Hopefully they're not, that detrimental to the Colts, but I do think you're going to see those types of moments coupled with plays where you're just like, holy smokes, I can't believe what I just saw. And hopefully the dynamic, athletic, crazy plays outweigh the rookie mistakes that I think he's going to inevitably make next year just because of not playing and not getting a lot of time on task, if you will, within this offense last year.
I'll give you my take and tell me if this is fair or not, or you think it's accurate or not. Yes, there's going to be growing pains like there always are in a young quarterback. Trevor, who I have so much respect for, and I can't wait to see his season, still had him in year 3 last year. There's going to be the growing pains. I get that. But I think he's going to overcome those. I'm talking about Anthony Richardson. The question I do have, and I think it's fair, is can he stay on the field? Because he's a smart guy. He's going to work hard. He's going to learn the things he doesn't know, and he's going to develop the instincts he doesn't have, in my opinion. But I do think it's a fair question, Matt, can he stay on the field? Because we saw it at Florida. Is that a fair take on Anthony Richardson?
Well, that's what everybody around here has been talking about for the last, 7-8 months, dating back to last October when his season was done for good with the shoulder injury, right? And to be fair, I mean, that happened against the Tennessee Titans, and it was Harold Landry that kind of tackled him on a broken play or as an RPO where the quarterback ended up with the football in his hands. And it was a football play. It was a football tackle. It didn't look egregious. He just landed on the shoulder, and that was that. But I do think it's fair to wonder if Anthony Richardson did learn some valuable lessons last year based on how he played, because he did take some unnecessary hits. He did put himself into harm's way at times in the first couple of games with some other minor injuries, and taking some shots and maybe taking some hits that maybe he didn't need to. He just has to learn how to play the NFL game, so to speak. And I just don't think you get that without playing. So I think that watching from the sidelines last year was a really good, valuable experience for him, because selfishly it kind of taught him, like, I'm incredibly important to the success of this team. And that's not him being conceited. That's not him being selfish. It's just the nature of the beast, right? Oftentimes teams go as far as the starting franchise quarterback will take them. It's not all about one guy, but, man, sometimes it seems like if you don't have that quarterback in place, you don't have a chance. So credit to Gardner Minshew for the job that he did last year. But I think that had Richardson stayed healthy, you're talking about a Colts team last year that's probably in the playoffs. But I think the Colts are going to be really smart with Richardson in terms of how they use him. I think it's going to turn more into Lamar Jackson. And what I mean by that is, third down, games on the line, under 4 minutes, go make a play. We want the football into the hands of our best playmaker. And when we're inside the red zone, that's where you see Lamar Jackson. That's where I think you're going to see Anthony Richardson. So I think they're going to be pretty designed about how they're using Richardson and not putting him in situations where he has to think about, do I throw it away? Do I take this hit? Do I lean with this shoulder? Take that all out of his equation, because he's got to process so much as it is. But I just think they're going to be a little bit more smart and deliberate on when they call his number in big-time moments.
Matt Taylor with us, the play-by-play voice of the Colts. Yeah, I've been going around the division, Matt, a little bit. I had Vandermeer on yesterday, and he made a point. He said, I was talking to Matt, and Matt said that Richardson and Jonathan Taylor essentially never played together. I didn't realize that until he said it. But that's pretty amazing, too, isn't it? Is Jonathan Taylor good to go? And because that's a bizarre thing that they were never in there together, were they?
Yeah, they played a total of 2 snaps together last year on the field. And That was that same Week 5 game against the Tennessee Titans. And that combination just never manifested itself because of availability, right? I mean, Jonathan Taylor had his off-the-field drama last year and started the year on PUP and didn't get ramped up until that Week 5 game. And then that's when Richardson got hurt. And if you wanted to take a step further, I think those guys only practiced together like 3 times, and that's including walkthroughs. So that's why this offseason workout program with Taylor's availability has been so important. And I think, I know this is not what you asked me, but I think with the draft and then picking up Adonai Mitchell on the outside, if the Colts can get more pop on the outside and be more of a threat to push the ball down the field, and I know, again, this is probably more of the Gardner Minshew effect last year than anything, but if Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, Alec Pierce, if those guys can at least be a threat to push the ball outside the numbers and down the field, then it's really going to put a lot of stress on the defense. And how many players can you afford to put in the box to stop the running game with Taylor and Richardson? I think those 2 guys, that combination in the backfield, I think they've got the best chance to be the deadliest, most lethal running back quarterback duo in the league. It's just whether or not the numbers in the box, can that be lessened to take advantage of that, because the passing game in this case for the Colts has to open up the running game.
Matt, defensively, how do you feel about the team? I will tell you, there's some stars on that defense. Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner are a load inside. I think Zaire Franklin's become a great player. Is there enough around those guys? How do you feel about the defense?
I do think the defense kind of took the next step, at least on paper, within the draft. The first draft pick for the Colts in the first round was 15 overall. They drafted Liatu Latu out of UCLA, who was the first defensive player off the board, shockingly. So the Colts, that is, they feel like they got hopefully their version of a guy that can turn into, and hopefully in short order, like their version of the Bosa brothers or TJ Watt, because the sack numbers last year for the Colts were really very good. They had 51 sacks, which in fact was a franchise record for the Colts since they moved to town in 1984. So that was an Indy era record, but they just didn't show up in big moments sometimes. I mean, the sack numbers were good, but then you look at the box score and you see the overall quarterback hurries and the pressures, especially in, the last 2 minutes of a game, week 18, just not enough pressure on a guy like C.J. Stroud in crunch time. So that's where I think Laiatu Latu can really help the Colts just win his one-on-one matchup, just beat his man in the fourth quarter. But you're right. There's so much talent on that side of the ball, and it's kind of been disappointing, to be honest with you. The last couple of years, the Colts have finished 28th in scoring defense in each of the last 2 seasons. And there's Pro Bowl players and Pro Bowl caliber players in each level of the defense. And that's why I think you're coming back year number 3 with Gus Bradley. It's time for that unit to take the next step. I think that they will. And I think one of the things you're going to see this year are some of the numbers be kind of evened out. And by that, I mean, last year the Colts were the team that blitzed the fewest and played the most zone coverage in the back end. They were kind of young and inexperienced in the secondary last year. I think you can say the same thing again this year, although you are bringing back some guys, some rookies from last season like Jalen Jones. Dallas Flowers is coming back. Juju Brents was really banged up a lot last year. But I think those guys and their return can hopefully prove to the defensive staff and the coaches that we can afford to play some more press man. We can blitz a little bit more and hopefully get some more takeaways and take that high point total that's been there the last couple of years and take it down to around 21, 20 points per game to give us a chance to win.
Final thing, Matt, how do you see the division? I can tell you that the Texans are pretty good. I think they're legit. We feel like around here this team's going to have I think they were more the 8-3 team last year than the 1-5 team. Now I'm biased, but I really do believe that. How do you see the division? Suddenly, like Mark and I were talking about yesterday, suddenly a pretty good division, isn't it?
I totally agree. I mean, I don't think the Jaguars are going to fall off a cliff like they did. I mean, losing 5 of 6 down the stretch, I didn't forecast that. I know you didn't either. I was incredibly surprised by that. So, to get Trevor Lawrence solidified in the contract the way they did the last couple of weeks, incredibly smart, just kind of takes that whole thing off the table. They don't have to worry about that anymore going into the season. But listen, I'm going to sound hyperbole. I'm going to sound cliche, but it's so true. These AFC South games are going to be just absolutely mammoth. I mean, I don't think you're going to see a team go, win 12, 13 games. I think you're going to see pretty much everybody right around 8, 9, 10 wins. And, they count as double. They count as 2. There's no doubt about that. And for the Colts, it just seems like, I don't know what the Jaguars, if you guys have any schedule inequities or gripes, but, one small one for the Colts the last couple of years has been their schedule has been so front-loaded with AFC South games.
Right.
And it's kind of true this upcoming season as well. Maybe not as severe as it has been, but like Colts and Texans, for example, that series is over by Halloween.
Yeah.
You'd like to see it kind of be spaced out a little bit more where you get one in September or October and another one in November or December.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes. And a majority of the Colts AFC South schedule is, in the first 8 or 9 games, which means you're going to have to be ready to go. You're going to have to stay healthy. And I think this division is going to be an absolute gauntlet. Even Tennessee, I think, got sneaky good in the offseason with their draft and their offseason moves and free agency. And I'm probably more of a believer in Will Levis than some other people. I just think it's going to be an absolute war this year inside the division. That's how it should be. And me talking about it right now, Frank's got me fired up. When do we play?
I'm right with you. I feel the same thing. And I agree with everything you said. It's going to be a fun division. Matt Taylor, the play-by-play voice of the Colts. Matt is going to be here. You're going to blink and it's going to be here, brother. So that doesn't happen. Hey, thanks for spending some time, man. Have a good rest of the summer. We'll see you, Matt.
You too. Thanks, Frank.
All right. Matt Taylor does a fantastic job. The terrific play-by-play voice of the Indianapolis Colts. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to bring in Mike Fleming, my buddy from Firewatch, who does so much to help veterans, members of the military who defended our country. I love to bring Mike on. He comes on during right before a lot of the military holidays, or the patriotic holidays, I should say. Mike's up next. This is 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Step into the 1010XL Hall of Sports.
One word. Awesome. This room is awesome.
1010XL, where sports come to life.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back in the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Hey folks, this is Mike Dempsey with a message from Paige and her entire Awaken 180 team. They want to wish all of our 1010XL listeners a happy and healthy Independence Day week. Having a party? Find your free recipes at Awaken 180 on all social media channels.
What's more American than grilling out for the 4th of July? Check out southernsteerbutcher.com or our social media channels for all of our 4th of July specials running June 29th through July 7th.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Imagine the perfect outdoor living space. A beautiful stone kitchen, waterfall, fire pit, pergola, stone walkway. Now there's one place to bring all of your design ideas to life. The Art of Natural Stone on Beach Boulevard and also by Bartram Springs.
Cooking with Prisco.
These things are wonderful. You're going to love it. Have a rolling.
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and you've got so much going on Atlantic near Regency. Greg, tell them about the boats that you have.
I'll tell you, we've got a full line of coach pontoons, and we just got the new Honda Seabrook series. It's a 19-foot center console, all with legendary Honda outboards.
And that means you can get on the water, you can enjoy a smooth ride, and great Honda technology.
Absolutely. You'll never be left behind with Honda.
And don't forget, Scout Pontoon Boats. They're both there on the lot. Check them out. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency or cyclesofjacksonville.com.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
This is Hays Carlyon here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
It's back! The Big One sales event is here, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Arlington has over 400 new Toyotas available. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and family vans. And that means now is the time to go big and go home in style. Plus, with every new Toyota purchase, you get Arlington's lifetime warranty and 30-day exchange program. But don't wait. The Big One sales event won't last long, so shop today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnicht Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941.
Welcome back to the program. Glad you're with us. Thanks to our friends from the Nimnicht family of dealerships. Nimnicht Chevrolet is on Castle. Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway. It's where I get my cars, make it the place you get yours. My friend Mike Fleming is here. He's from Firewatch, one of my good buddies, and they do so much good work helping veterans in our community. And Mike tends to join me this time of year. Good to see you. How are you?
Hey, great, Frank. Thanks again for having. We try to come around on the days we really kind of think about maybe the military contribution, which is every day. But when you think of Independence Day and the men and women throughout the years who've helped us have freedom, it's a great time to celebrate.
Yeah, it really is, Mike. I always appreciate you coming in. We're going to get to some specific details about the VA and other opportunities in a minute. But for people that have just joined hearing you for the first time, explain what Firewatch is. And for people that don't know, Mike's a 36-year veteran. He's a brigadier general. He's done about everything you can do in the military. But Firewatch is one of the coolest things I've heard you talk about, and it's your current initiative. Tell us what it is.
Yeah. So, Frank, unfortunately, right now we have a challenge with veteran suicide. And estimates are anything between 18 to 22 veterans of every era that we lose every day to suicide.
Every day.
Which is a tragedy. And you and I remember the first time I gave you that statistic, and we were on a golf course, and you almost drove off the fairway.
It still jars me. Honest to God, it still jars me.
It's really and so that's something that we wanted to say, okay, what can we do? And about 5 years ago, Rory Diamond, who was at the time the CEO of Canines for Warriors, said, can we do something different? So he gathered not only himself as far as the Jacksonville City Council, but the other 4 county councils across Northeast Florida and developed something called the Firewatch. And the idea was, can we do something as a community? And so we had a bit of a blank slate, but what we decided we would emphasize is one thing, is how can we engage the 90%? Because less than 10% of the American public has ever served in the military. So if we're waiting for veterans to save veterans from suicide, we already lost that battle. There aren't enough of us. But if we can engage the 90%, the rest of the community who love military, we can really make a difference, which we've done. And the primary thing we do is something called a watch stander program. And you probably heard, Frank, in the military, we talk about you stand watch. And that's normally you're standing watch while other people are relaxing, sleeping, or something like that. And it's about an hour's worth of training. You can go on thefirewatch.org and become a watch stander, because we want you, as a friend of a veteran, to be bold. I want my friends, if I'm not where I need to be, not think, well, this guy's a general, this guy's been in the military, how can I talk to him? We want you to be bold for that. And so we invented the Watch Stander program. We have over 7,000 people who've gone through it, and but we need more of that. So we ask people invest an hour to help veterans.
And that's what you can go to
thefirewatch.org.
Thefirewatch.org. Today you wanted to talk a little bit about the opportunities available through the VA, and maybe not enough people take advantage of it.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. As you know, I work for Cohen Veterans Network, and we have a clinic here which is tremendous. It provides outpatient mental health care for veterans and military families. But one of the big things I want to stress is the partnership we have with the VA, the Veterans Administration. And we're very fortunate here in Northeast Florida. We have an absolutely terrific team. Josh Pridgeon heads a lot of it. We have a lot of great friends with that. But only about a little less than 40% of the eligible veterans have registered with the VA for medical care, which is an earned benefit, because if you served in the military honorably, you have benefits from the VA. So you have to register for that. And it really dawned on me. I had somebody from work today actually reach out to me, and her father had passed, was a veteran. Now her mother needs some care, and he had never registered. And so we have some veterans who think it's plus minus. They think if I register and I'm in pretty good health with the VA, I'll take away funding from somebody else, maybe a veteran who has lost a leg or something like that. And that's absolutely false. The VA is funded based on the number of veterans that sign up. So I really want to encourage veterans and families to make sure your veteran has signed up for VA medical care, because not only is that good for the individual veteran and maybe some disability, maybe some things, the families, there are a lot of benefits the VA has created for the families, including one is caregiver, because as we all get older, sometimes we need some care, and you can actually have some funding and get paid to help and take care of your veteran. So I just want to stress that you can encourage our watch standards, we encourage them to connect to resources, but I really see that there's a opportunity for our veterans to make sure they've registered for the benefits that they've earned and help their families.
Mike, if a veteran is struggling, in your experience, and you've watched so much of this, and you've directed so many through their difficulties, or helped them get through their difficulties, I should say. If a veteran is struggling and has not reached out into some of these programs and initiatives, in your opinion, is it more reluctance? Is it lack of knowledge that they exist? Is there a reason why this veteran who's really going through some tough times hasn't reached out yet? That's
a great question. I think it's a couple of, really what you said, a couple of different things. You know, in the military, and you probably heard me say before, there's a real stress on we stress physical fitness.
Yeah.
We do a lot of physical things, obviously need to do that. But mental fitness, really, the whole time I was in, I've used the term, you were like radioactive, because, hey, Fleming's talking about feelings. If we wanted you to have feelings, we'd issue them to you.
Yeah.
And so there's still a stigma, unfortunately, about mental health. And that's just not in the military. I think we all can use help at different times. And, I've been fortunate that I've been able to, I've had individual counseling, marriage counseling, been married to an angel, be 42 years this December. So it's really helped our marriage. So it's really a stigma. And then some people only go into it half-heartedly. And I think it probably is partially maybe not knowing what resources are, but again, that's where we see what the watch standards do. We want to encourage them, and we used the analogy before, as you know, about CPR. When you get CPR training, you're not training to be a doctor. You're training to stabilize someone and get them to help. Well, that's what we want a watch standard to do. When somebody sees me, Mike, you're not where you need to be. Can we talk? Can we get you to resources? That's really what we want, surround veterans and their families with a sea of goodwill and get them to the resources they need.
Yeah, final question for you. We want to send veterans to thefirewatch.org. We want veterans to take advantage of these great opportunities with the VA. What other advice are you going to give a veteran, apart from taking advantage of the programs that are out there, to get through a difficult time emotionally? Nobody knows it better than you.
Yeah, that's a great question, Frank. I would say be honest with where you are.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the challenges when you have people who are transitioning from the military into the civilian world. It's different. Not better or worse, it's just different. And so some of us maybe think of ourselves maybe too highly. I should be able to walk out and get $1 million job, or I don't really think I fit. And so I think it's be honest, not only with yourself, but with your family, because military families also serve, as you know. And we moved more than 20 times when I was in the military. And so be honest with your family about where you are so they can help, because normally your family is the number one support system you have, and using them to get you to help is really what you need. But it's really just, make an honest assessment, because everything we talk about depends on that veteran taking that first brave step. But if they can be encouraged by their families and their friends, then will really make a difference.
Brigadier General Mike Fleming, I say this to you all the time, and I mean it, and we're friends apart from doing this on the radio, but you had a really good career. You could shut it down and go hang out, but you really care about these veterans. That's a cool thing, Mike. I mean that I'm very, very sincerely mean that. Good for you, and I appreciate you coming by.
Appreciate it, my friend. Thanks a lot.
Mike Fleming, talking about Firewatch, thefirewatch.org. We'll take a break. Jessica Blaylock joins us from Miami after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
When you want action.
Jacksonville on the move here. First drive of the game.
It's 1010XL.
If you're a Jags fan, you better get your popcorn ready because this guy's something.
Where the action is. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Big Chief Tire makes auto care affordable with 6-month financing on their CFNA card, plus $50 off your next service. Frank Frangie here. With no interest for 6 months, now is the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Whether you need new tires, brakes, or general checkup, their skilled technicians have you covered. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to learn more and schedule an appointment at one of their 5 locations. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Don't miss the Independence Day sale at Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Take advantage of incredible deals like 20% off all used clubs, Orange Dot apparel starting at $29.99, and all closeout shoes and bags get an extra 20% off. Shop in store or online for great Independence Day deals. Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Get there.
Every season is Chevy truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet, and there's no better time to do what you do best than a Chevy Silverado. Now at Nimnick, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado, or well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 1.9% financing on all new Silverado 1500 models. And with the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. It all starts with a Chevy truck. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar on your trade. So shop online 24/7 at NimnickChevy.com or visit the dealership located at the corner of Park Street and Cassett. You want a great truck? Then you want a Silverado from Nimnick. That's Nimnick Chevrolet. Visit them today. Nimnick Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue at Park. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Attention sports fans, are you ready to take your game to the next level? Look no further than Best Bet. You can bet anywhere, but you'll definitely win here. Experience the thrill of sports like never before. With all the major games broadcasting live on our big screens and a menu stacked with your favorite foods and refreshing drinks, you're sure to find your winning ticket. Visit BestBetJax.com to learn more. That's BestBetJax.com. Bet anywhere, win here. Only at Best Bet.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Gators' new commit for the class of 2025, local Riverside High 4-star recruit tight end Tayshawn Gelsey hauled in 48 passes for 859 yards and 9 touchdowns last year. Going into his last season this year, Gelsey shared on what he's looking to accomplish.
Build my team, because we're a young team, so I know I got a lot of guys looking up to me, so just to show them the way, make sure they working, make sure they get to where I am right now, that's my goal for the year.
It's decision day for 247-pound linebacker Tavion Wallace. Wayne County, Georgia 4-star linebacker who's ranked as the nation's 36th overall player and number 3 linebacker has a big day today, verbally committing to one of the 4 schools: Florida State, Florida, Georgia, or Arkansas. It's 88 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnicht Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941.
We welcome you back to the program. Glad you're with us. Frank Frangie with you, JJ LaSelva here. Hays Carlyon has the week off. He'll be back in next week. See, I wanted to bring in my next guest, but I didn't know what ends of the world to go to find her. As luck would have it, Jessica's back in Miami. What were the chances that you weren't in Rome or Indonesia or Australia or somewhere like that, right? With luck of the draw, right?
The draw that I actually ended up making it back to South Florida and didn't stay in Italy for the remainder of the year because it was an incredible trip. But yes, back to baseball and excited to be back in South Florida and back home.
Well, good. And, but before we do this, how many times have you been to France, like in the last 5 years? I'm not kidding. How many France trips?
I have been to Paris 5 times.
5?
In the last 5 years, 4 times in the last 2 years alone.
5?
Little obsessed.
Obsession's good. So, well, it's great to have you back. And I'm glad you're on the program. We need to do this more often.
It's been way too long.
Yeah,
it has been way too long since we've had a chance to catch up.
So I'm glad we're doing it. Hey, let me ask you this. And I thought about this for the last couple of weeks. I'm serious about this. I've known you since you were 17 years old. I've known you forever.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I've, honestly, and I'm honest about this, I don't know that I've ever sensed you being more excited than you were over this Panthers thing. I thought it was the coolest thing. And my friend Pete Prisco is a football guy. He lives down there. He's so excited about the Panthers. Look, there's a lot of championships, Jessica, but this one, man, this seemed to grab everybody's heart, didn't it? It really did.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I was most excited about is just kind of this evolution for my love of hockey and how I never saw it coming, right? Like, I didn't grow up with hockey. I knew nothing about hockey in college, had no intention of ever covering the sport, no ambition to ever cover the sport. I know, Baloo introduced me to hockey and we would watch Bruins games at the Baloo Sports Bar and I kind of got a little into it, but still never knew that my career path would lead me to an opportunity to cover hockey and just the way I have fallen in love with it over the last 9 years and specifically the way that I have fallen in love with this Panthers team. And you'll appreciate this analogy, Frank. The way that I liken this Panthers team is actually to the Gator basketball team that won back-to-back titles. Because if you think about that team, they truly played for one another, right? You would go and talk to Joakim Noah, and all he would want to talk about was how great Al Horford was that night. Then you'd go and talk to Al Horford, and all he'd want to talk about is how Lee was knocking down threes. Then you'd go talk to Lee, and he'd just want to talk about how great Corey Brewer was defensively. This Panthers team embodies that exact same spirit in their dressing room where, you go to talk to Matthew Tkachuk and Tkachuk is just raving about Alexander Barkov. And then you go and talk to Barkov and Barkov's talking about how great Sergei Bobrovsky was in the net. And it's just such a special group. And it's so hard to put into words the joy that you feel every day, just even driving to the practice rink and how excited you are to be a part of it and how excited you are to go and talk to all these guys and how incredible of a human being, not just a coach, but a person that Paul Maurice is. And it's been such a special couple of years watching this team turn into the team that they are today, turn into the team that had the chance to hoist the Stanley Cups for the first time in Panthers franchise history. It's really hard to put into words, and it's hard not to get swept up into the magic of it all.
Joe Zagacki and a lot of my buddies in South Florida, and I talk about this, Prisco as well. But Miami's a Dolphins town. Everybody knows that. It's about the Dolphins. Yeah, and it's been a while since the Dolphins have won, obviously. But the Marlins have had titles. The Heat have had titles. But there's almost more of a romance to this Panthers thing. Is that? Am I overstating that? It seems different to me.
I think you're right, and I think that over the past couple of seasons, because the Panthers have had consistent success, right? I mean, that's something that you and I have talked about in the past when we talked about Marlins baseball and why it's sometimes tough to get people to come out. And even when Giancarlo Stanton was here and he was chasing a historic home run number, You still really couldn't get people to the ballpark. Frank, what do we always come back to? You really, at the end of the day, you have to win, and you have to win consistently, and people will come. And the Panthers, over the past several seasons, have won and won consistently, and they've gone to the playoffs, for 5 consecutive seasons. And so you've started to see this shift of where the Panthers were, for years, kind of the afterthought of the sports scene in South Florida. And now you see people start to come around, and you see people start to fall in love with certain players, and you see something start to build, and you see, our GM Bill Zito and every move that he has made basically work out beautifully. And you've seen guys come here and revitalize their careers and become part of something that's so much bigger than themselves. And I think people have gotten very swept up in just what this team represents, in the sense of not just how they play, but how they feel about each other, how they feel about the fans, how they make the fans feel like they're a part of it. And I think it's something that you as a fan gravitate towards, because you don't feel like you're on the outside in, or on the outside looking in. You go to the rink, you go to these games, you see the Ryan Lomberg hair flip and everybody goes crazy. You see Kachuk or Bennett drop the gloves and everyone goes crazy. You see Barkov make this magical move to score a goal and everybody goes crazy. You see Bob make a save and everybody starts chanting, Bobby, Bobby. Like, it's just, you feel like you're such a part of it. And I think that is what people have been swept up in, and why there's been such a romanticism to what has been building over the past couple of years for this Panthers team.
And I can tell you, even from afar, you can kind of sense that. But that is but that is a good segue to the story that's not quite as good. What happened to the Marlins? Jessica, they made the playoffs last year for the second time in 20 years.
Yeah.
And I thought the future, I don't know if I'll say the future was bright, but it felt like they had turned the corner to a point. What happened?
Right.
What happened this year?
Yeah. And I think a big thing is, you can look back at the beginning of the season, and it was almost like everything that could go wrong did go wrong, especially with your pitching, your starting pitching rotation. Mm-hmm. And there's no denying that what this team has tried to build success around has been their starting rotation. And coming into this season, you don't have Sandy Alcantara because he has Tommy John surgery. Yuri Perez, who made his debut last year and everybody just fell in love with, you find out in spring training he's got some issues with his elbow. Well, it turns out he's got to have Tommy John surgery. Braxton Garrett, who was your most consistent starter last season, starts out the season on the IL. Jesus Luzardo, your opening day starter, didn't really pitch well to start the season, ends up also going on the IL. Edward Cabrera also ends up going on the IL. So your entire starting rotation is all of a sudden not available to you. So you're trying to piecemeal your starting rotation, which is what you have always prided yourself in trying to build success around. You're piecemealing your rotation together. The bullpen was not great to start the year, whereas the bullpen was such a huge strength last season. I mean, there were guys that really struggled coming out of the pen to find consistency. The offense, besides Jake Berger had, a pretty hot start to the year, but other than that, a lot of guys scuffled at the plate. So it was kind of like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Pitching couldn't bail out poor offense. The offense couldn't put up runs when pitching struggled. So you got off to this really, really tough start in April and May, and it almost became a hole so deep, it was really tough to kind of dig your way out of. They did play much better baseball from mid-May on, but the consistency just hasn't been there. And I think a big part of it is just the injuries weren't just few and far between. They were all over the place, and they were devastating injuries, right? And then there just wasn't any area that you could find consistency to kind of pick yourself up. So, yeah, it's obviously tough. And even now, we just DFA'd Tim Anderson, who you were hoping could kind of get back to when he was at the top of his game. They released Avisail Garcia, who just dealt with injuries and couldn't really find consistency. They were hoping he'd be a big bat. It's kind of a lot of things that did go wrong have gone wrong, and now you're just trying to do your best to just really get back to being competitive.
So what happens now? Is Skip not back? Are they the ultimate sellers at the deadline, which I would imagine is what happens with Josh Bell? What happens?
I think both of those things, unfortunately. So I think this team is going to look drastically different at the end of the season compared to what the lineup looks like now. I do think you're going to be selling off a lot of pieces at the deadline and just focusing on acquiring top prospects and looking ahead to the future. And, it is unfortunate because obviously last season was so much fun and it just was so special to see it all come together. And look, we all know it looking back at last year. If you looked at the Marlins lineup last year and you compared it to a lot of lineups around the league, they didn't have the same kind of lineup as the Mets or the Padres or the Yankees or whatever, or the Dodgers, whatever team you want to, compare them to. But they found a way, right? They played hard. They really, really embodied Skip's character and kind of the type of player that he was. Guys stepped up. They figured out a way. They, again, a team that really played for one another. And just really put together such a special season, and it was awesome being. I'm sorry, I know they clinched against Pittsburgh and your Pirates, but it just was, it was such a fun weekend, and the whole going into the clubhouse, the champagne and the goggles and the celebration, and knowing how hard these guys had worked, and getting to see them reap the reward of that by going to the playoffs. And yeah, it's just obviously a much different feel this year. But what I can say is, I love this clubhouse. Josh Bell is one of my favorite human beings. Truly one of my favorite human beings. Jake Berger is amazing. Brian De La Cruz and Jesus Sanchez show up every day with a huge smile on their face and such an infectious, positive attitude. It's a really good group of guys. And even though the record is obviously not what anybody would want it to be, they play hard. They work hard, and it's just been tough to know that the hard work they put in hasn't necessarily translated to results.
Jessica Blaylock with us. By the way, everyone knows now that when a team wins and the reporter interviews them afterwards, there's a little ice shower, and I've probably seen, whether it's the Pirates or whoever, I've probably seen like 7,000 of those in my life.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, first of all, let me congratulate you for surviving. Okay,
thank you.
Because you did make it. That's a toughness issue, and I think you proved you are. What in the world was it? Jazz Chisholm? What are we doing?
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing?
Frank, let me tell you, what we didn't realize was way back in the day when we did the ice bucket challenge that we were just preparing for this moment.
That's exactly
life,
right.
So I know. I was ready because of 1010XL, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
And this is what I tell everybody, because there are so many people who have asked me about that. Two things. Number one, I am so lucky. I am so lucky to get to do what I do, and I don't take it for granted. And moments like that remind me of how lucky I am, and how those are the things that I'm going to look back on and say, it's so crazy that I got to be a part of a walk-off win and a walk-off celebration. And the pictures are always amazing. My mom always thinks it's the funniest thing. So even if I didn't love it, as long as it made Debbie Blaylock happy, you better believe I'm doing it. The second thing is, Jazz and I have a great relationship. We have a great rapport. He and I have had conversations in the past when he's gotten me with the cooler before, and I have told him, I've looked him straight in the eye and I've said, Jazz, you always be you. You always have fun, and don't you ever feel bad about including me in a post-game celebration. Because when those guys include me, they make me feel like I'm part of it. They wouldn't do that if they weren't comfortable with me. They wouldn't do that if they didn't think that I was family. You spend so much time together throughout the course of a baseball season that you can't help but become family, right? So I would actually be more worried if they tried to avoid me with the post-game celebration. I think it caught everybody off guard because that it was obviously meant solely for me, right? Like there was no getting around it. Like that,
no getting around
that
it.
Cooler was aimed for me, and I got stoked. But I look at it and I think to myself, exactly what I tweeted out, exactly what I posted on social media. I would never trade those moments for anything. I would never, ever, ever trade them for anything, because they're the moments that I'm going to look back on and say, man, how blessed was I? How lucky was I to get to do what I do for a living, to get to live my dream every day. I just don't ever want to take that for granted.
You know what? That's a great perspective, and it's a great point, although I'm now bummed. I didn't do the connection, but I'm now only part of the second most famous Jessica Blaylock dousing of all time. You know?
Okay, can I please say that my favorite part of that still was Baloo in the window trying to tap on the window and tell us to move over so he could see it.
That was the part that was one of my favorite parts.
Oh,
the other
my
favorite
God.
part was, for people that don't remember the ice bucket challenge, you dumped ice on each other. So Jessica and I are sitting out there, and she's all excited. And she's got the bucket, and she's got the ice in the water.
Yeah.
And I'm so, okay, she's got it. I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes and tighten up, because here it comes. But Jessica didn't realize she wasn't supposed to do it to herself.
Yeah, I may have misunderstood the rules a little bit.
That was just tremendous. And I look up, and I'm totally dry, and I look over, and she's cracking up and sopping wet. It was magnificent. And Baloo in the window was fantastic.
I'm pretty sure you can still find that video on YouTube.
Well, not only that, but I'm now going to. So there's that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, one more thing before I let you go. Do you get home some? Do you follow the Jags? Or you got to still be Jags fan, right?
Oh, for sure. And it's so funny, because I've been down here for a decade, which, by the way, is insane. I've been down here for 10 years.
Wow, has
that
it been 10
nuts.
years? Wow.
10 years. This is my 10th season with the Marlins, and I just finished my 9th season of hockey. So 10 years. And I've had people ask me a couple different times. They're like, "Oh, do you pull for the Dolphins, now that you live down here?" And I'm like, hell no. I'm a Jaguars fan, and I'm a Jaguars fan for life. Whatever happens, I will always pull for the Jags. The hard thing is, you can only watch the Jaguars games down here if you go to a sports bar.
Right.
Obviously they have the Dolphins broadcast on. They don't show Jaguar games locally here. So, and then, in September, I'm still on baseball. I'm working day games every Sunday. So I really, unless I can get to a sports bar from October on, which isn't always a guarantee with my schedule, I don't really get to follow the Jags nearly as much as I want to. So it's why when I come back to Jacksonville, I'm always, asking you guys about what's going on with the Jags, because I don't have nearly the same kind of lock in with them here in South Florida that I did when I was living in Jacksonville. But no, I'm always pulling for the Jaguars. I'm always pulling for them to have success. I so desperately want to see them have consistent success. But yeah, so how are they going to be this season?
They're going to be good. And I really believe, because I'm, me, Jessica, I'm always glasses half full guy, but I think they're going to be good. I think
same.
I really do.
I always have the Jaguars going undefeated every year. The Florida Gators going undefeated every year.
Yes, you do.
The Marlins 162-0. The Florida Panthers 82-0.
And
I'm a bottom feeder when it comes to the standings for a reason.
Yeah, and don't ever change, by the way. I mean
I
that.
never will. Don't worry.
Jessica Blaylock, check it in. Now, here's what I do expect. I'm going to look up, and you're going to be in freaking New Zealand or wherever. So I'm
probably.
I need a travel blog. I need a travel documentary. I need a travel book. And because I know you're going to be all over. But we miss you. We wish you'd come out. Next time you come up here, we're going to drag you in studio. But it's great catching up. And
you know what? In 2 weeks for the All-Star break, I'll be in Barcelona, Spain. So if you want me to get up at 3 a.m. and call in.
Now I know the time. That's exactly where you'll be. That is perfect. Jessica, great catching up with you. We'll talk soon. Take care.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks, Frank.
All right. Jessica Blaylock, one of my favorite people in the world. And she is, for people that don't know the story, you probably do, but Jessica went through school. Jessica went through school. I've told the story many times. Went to Florida. She had, by the way, we knew her since she was a kid because she was our babysitter for our daughter. Jessica went to Florida to become a broadcaster, got a job with the Magic, doing some Magic stuff, but she was also doing high school football. I love to tell this story, for Sun Sports Network. She was back early in her career, and I wanted to add somebody to the show. I said, you know what? I want to add a woman to the show. I just think it'll be a different touch, a different perspective. People haven't had this. This was, 20-some years ago, whenever it was. And my wife and I are watching on Christmas Day, just flipping through. We were at my in-laws' house, and we saw Jessica doing sidelines, and obviously Jessica was a family friend. And my wife, Suzanne, goes, "That's the person on your show. You ought to call Jessica." And I said, "Okay." So I called Jessica, said, "I got a crazy idea. You got any interest in radio in Jacksonville?" And she said, "Yeah, I think I do." And the next thing you know is history. Steve brought her in. Steve Griffith, our GM, brought her in. She was part of our radio station. She covered the Jags, and the rest is history. She's one of the best broadcasters out there. She's one of my favorite people. It's always great to have Jessica on the program. More in a moment after this. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
What's the deal with the show? The 1010XL Podcast Network is now available just about everywhere you find podcasts.
I mean, I think the show's going to be a huge hit.
Search for your favorite 1010XL podcast in your platform of choice.
To get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
What's changed totally inside and out? The Kuhn Flowers massive storefront, and yes, they've totally remodeled the showroom inside too. This is Frank Frangie, and the next time you drive by, stop and smell the roses at Kuhn Flowers.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FAS is home at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark today and tomorrow. Tonight at 7:05 is Tulsa Welding Appreciation with free tickets for military personnel and dependents. Tomorrow is our biggest fireworks show of the year and free patriotic hats to the first 2,000 fans. All presented by the Nimnicht family of dealerships. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Every weekend is a Stone Cold Sports Weekend. Hey, Dan Hicken here. Watch for the Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll help you put together your sports weekend. Weekend with Dan brought to you by Stone Core. We do the outdoors better.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to come out and experience one of the most beautiful and unique golf courses in North Florida. Affordable golf, friendly service, and great times in the Hills Grill after play. Book your tee time, hiddenhillsgc.com.
How many professional golfers have won the Grand Slam, all 4 majors, in one calendar year?
With hurricane season now here, the only weather you need to be concerned about is whether your homeowner's insurance policy will cover you in the event of storm damage. Ask about Southern Oak Insurance today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The only golfer to win golf's Grand Slam in one calendar year was Bobby Jones in 1930.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Presenting A Gain Flings Love Story.
Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing Scalp Micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Nimnick Tuesday on The Frangie Show. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941.
We do thank our friends from the Nimnick family of dealerships. Nimnick Chevrolet is on Cassett Avenue. Nimnick Buick GMC is on Phillips Highway. I've been getting my cars there since 1982. That's a long time. First time I ever bought a car by myself and just out of college. And that's the place to go. They do such a great job. Nimnick's the name to know in this town. When you want to buy a car. Some NFL stuff going on. JJ, did you see where Tashawn Gibson got suspended for 6 games, the former Jaguar?
Was it PEDs?
They have not said what it is. It's you can speculate all you want, but Tashawn Gibson, a 33-year-old safety who was the free safety for that very good Jaguars defense in 2017, been on the 49ers for a while now, suspended for 6 games. That's interesting stuff. That surprised me a little bit. I hadn't seen that coming. Speaking of ex-Jaguars, here's kind of a cool story that Rock Armstead, who was a running back here that they had so many high hopes for. They always believed he would be pretty good. It just never happened. He's kind of found his way in the CFL. That's kind of cool.
Well, he unfortunately got screwed by COVID, right?
Yeah, he did. He
got a real bad COVID, and then it affected the rest of his season, and then I think Did he not make the team the next year? I don't remember, but it was like over from there after that.
Yeah, I don't know what he had, and I don't want to misspeak, so I don't want to say he had this if it wasn't this. But yes, that's what happened. Is COVID really walloped him, and I'm not sure it was going to happen for him anyway. He had a handful of guys.
But that certainly didn't help.
No, that's correct. And so, but Rock Armstead is now a CFL star, which is kind of cool. By the way, back in the day. But have you ever watched a CFL game? You ever watched one?
I know that you can have a running start to the line of scrimmage if you're running or if you're a wide receiver.
The end zone's like 25 yards deep, so the end zone never ends. And you're right, you can have a running. I used to love to watch. I don't know what happened to where nobody watches this CFL. I guess there's so much other stuff.
There's so many spring leagues every year that pop up that it's like, all right, enough. Even though CFL, like I remember the Arena League used to be cool. The Arena League was fun in the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, it wasn't like Kurt Warner or Jeff Garcia or their what's his name's brother was the quarterback for Tampa and won the title. John Gruden, right?
Yeah.
So wasn't Jay Gruden
and he went on to
quarterback?
And then he went on to be a legendary coach in the Arena League, and then of course in the NFL. And I watched some arena football. But I never got caught up in it. I used to love the CFL. I mean, Warren Moon started in the CFL, you know. So, but I used to, and that is 100 years ago. But does anyone have? It's got to be on TV around here because isn't everything on everything's
ESPN
on television?
Plus is
it
guaranteed.
Has to be. One of the ESPNs has to have that
or Paramount Plus.
Yeah. But anyway, Armstead played in 18 games as a Jaguar. He was there for 3 years, and you made the good point. COVID really walloped him. Then he went to the XFL last season, and then finally to the CFL. But good for him. I was always kind of rooting for him, and because he was always on the cusp. I know in some of the preseason games we did, remember calling his name thinking, this guy's close, man. This guy's close. But close never really kind of turned into anything. But so good for him. So interesting stuff. Can you think about this, JJ, and maybe you don't think about it this way, but tomorrow will be the last show before 4th of July. I'm going to duck out next week and get up to Cape Cod and kind of get away for a little bit. Come back.
That sounds amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
There's no way it can be as hot there as it is.
Oh, 72, 73 degrees.
No way. That sounds glorious.
This will be our 5th time there. It's usually the highs around 74, the lows at 58.
My God.
Yeah, and it's just a wonderful part of the world. It really is. So do that next week. Come back, and it's SEC Media Days. I'll be back for a day, then fly to Dallas. And then it's camp. I mean, it's like here. I mean, it almost seems like it didn't stop. Do you get that sense? It feels like all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm not one of those guys that's like, I can't. Football to me is like, third, fourth sport for me,
right.
And like caring about it. So obviously for work, it's like, hell yeah, we're gonna have a lot more content soon. But I enjoy my baseball, man. I love like just every night. Even I'll catch even if I can only catch an inning or so, whatever. Just having that on in the background and having my weekends, having all of my weekends right now, I'm cherishing because I know it's going away very quickly.
Yeah, and as much as I love baseball, you know how much I love baseball. I jones for football season and can't wait. Blue lectured me. Blue and I did the show together.
He lectures everyone about that.
When we did the show together, he lectured me. He said, stop wishing your life away. Stop having it be June 12th, and you just can't wait till football season gets here. It'll get here soon enough. Play golf, go on vacation. And he was right, by the way. I agree with him. He was a fair lecture.
And it goes by fast when you do it like that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're not jonesing for it, you do look up and you're like, oh, my God, SEC Media Days is right around here.
And I love football season. And I will be honest, I am happier during football season than I am any other time of year. That's my happy time.
Oh, as a Hurricane, I can't say the same.
You can't.
It's always like so stressful.
Yeah. Well, it is that. Well, it is, but that's part of the charm of it.
Yes.
But I mean, I get a pep in my step when we hit September. That I mean, it's football, and then football turns into fall, and fall turns into the holidays, and
that's when it gets great.
Yeah, and so I'm a happier person.
Once football starts, I think of the holidays.
Yeah, same,
I'm like, it's all part of this, great time of year. Honestly, I've been, and I'm so nervous about the Gator game. I've been thinking about this game since the end of last season, the entire offseason. All I can think about is, damn, my friends are going to give me hell when we lose to the Gators, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is, I wish we had this every single year. Yeah. It kills me that we don't get to play you guys.
Well, I feel the same way, and I'll get to that game in a second, but I will tell you, if you broke the year into 3-4 month periods, like it's a hockey game, right? 3 periods. September, October, November, December is one of them, and then we split up the others. I'm way happier. I'm just a happier person in that period than I am the other two.
Yeah.
I mean, January, February, March, and April's fine. May, June, July, and August is hot, but it's vacation. But I'm the happiest in that. So I love football season. I'm super happy.
Starts getting a little cooler out.
Yeah. But it does. The longer you do, the longer you're in this business, the faster it comes, and I guess that's kind of what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, I remember like the NFL offseason used to feel like an eternity.
Yeah, and
now there's nothing. There's no,
like 'cause there's no
offseason, maybe. Yeah,
there really is. So I want to take a break. We come back. I want to touch on something you just said. How nervous you are about the Florida-Miami game. It's one of the most intriguing games I've seen in a long time, and I'm going to explain why right after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harold and Harold studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The latest future odds for the Major League Baseball Cy Young Award in the American League. Detroit's Tarek Skubal is the betting favorite at plus 190. Baltimore's Corbin Burns at plus 240. Garrett Crochet of the Chicago White Sox plus 800. Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners is plus 1,200. And Tanner Houck of the Red Sox plus 1,700. Over in the National League, Zach Wheeler of the Phillies plus 200 to win the NL Cy Young Award. Chris Sale of the Braves plus 350. Tyler Glasnow of the Dodgers plus 600. Ranger Suarez of the Phillies is at plus 700. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
Hun, the drain really smells.
Yeah, wow, it does.
I think it's getting backed up. What should we do? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yes, I did. Duck Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Need help with a plumbing issue at your home or business? Just call the Duck.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg. But Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There are a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesOfJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Discover the timeless beauty of stone with Art of Natural Stone, offering an extensive selection of products. They cater to every design aesthetic. And not just a supplier, they also provide the installation. Skilled craftsmen ensure a flawless finish every time with Art of Natural Stone. You receive not just a product, but an inviting welcome home experience. So embrace the elegance of your own yard this year with artofnaturalstone.com. Open to the public on Phillips Highway and on Beach Boulevard.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
This is Frank Frangie. Join Dan Hickett and me for All Things Gators, our podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Monday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL Florida Gators podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Look, we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. Well, MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. I love the live casino. The roulette is awesome. It's so easy and so much fun. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL, and a revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. So sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Soccer fans, don't miss your chance to see teams from the English Premier League compete in the Stateside Cup right here in Jacksonville. Competition will be fierce when Wolves and West Ham United take the pitch under the lights at Everbank Stadium July 27th. Right now until July 7th, get 25% off using promo code FIREWORKS. That's 25% off at StatesideCup.com. Use promo code FIREWORKS till July 7th.
Calling all disc golf enthusiasts. Play It Again Sports Jacksonville wants your used discs. Now through June 29th, earn cash on the spot plus $5 in sports bucks for every $25 of disc golf gear we buy. Play It Again Sports also stocks new discs from your favorite brands like Innova, Discraft, Discmania, and more. Stop in today and shop our huge selection. Merrill Road near 295 in the Merrill Station Shopping Plaza or online at playitagainjacks.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hays, and I have exciting news from Leonard Truck Outfitters, now with 2 great locations to get that truck hooked up. Beach Boulevard just past Southside and one on Blanding. I got my truck taken care of, and you should too. Leonard Truck Outfitters, your truck, your style.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, where have we been as we cool down from the show today? Matt Taylor joined us, the outstanding play-by-play voice of the Indianapolis Colts. He talked all about the Colts. They're excited, and man, are they excited about Anthony Richardson. In fact, we talked a great deal about Anthony Richardson, one of only 7 Gators, or I think it's 8 Gators, to ever be taken in the top 10 of the NFL draft and all the rage, even though he didn't play very much in college. So we certainly covered all that with Matt. It was great having him on. Mike Fleming stopped by from Firewatch. Mike's a really good guy. He is a brigadier general, 36-year career in the military, and now he works for Firewatch, and he works very hard to help veterans. Veteran suicide is a real thing. It's something they address every day at Firewatch, and Mike is very passionate about it. And he's always kind enough to join the program and talk about it. We sure appreciate that. He does it near holidays that are certainly military-based, and certainly the 4th of July is the pinnacle of that. And our friend Jessica Blaylock stopped by. Jessica travels all over. She is the sideline reporter for both the Florida Panthers and the Miami Marlins. She was over the moon about this Panthers championship. It was great having her on talking about that. And the struggles of the Marlins. The Marlins are having a really bad year. I mean, they 1 year removed from making the playoffs, and the Marlins are one of the worst 4 or 5 teams in baseball. And I don't think anybody saw that happening or coming, but it did. So she certainly covered that. And it's always just great to catch up with Jessica. She's one of my favorite people, and it was good having her on the program. And that was an awful lot of fun. So good. That's where we've been, and that is the cool down. By the way, we'll get to Florida, Miami in a second. Are you surprised the Marlins stink this bad?
Absolutely.
I mean, they were a playoff team.
I thought they'd be 500-ish, like that. That's sort of the vibe they had last year. But they've had the Nationals become that team in the East now, and they're like full of young talent. And you thought that was going to be the Marlins, and now they're getting left in the dust in that division, and it does not look good. They're going to sell everybody, and they don't really have too many like young guys where you can point to and be like, well, at least they have him.
Right.
Like Jazz sucks, man.
Yeah, he's not very good.
I thought he was going to be great.
Yeah, he's not very good.
Very flashy, but like, man, the bat, it's got to wake up. But you look at the Nats, and they have like a ton of these dudes from the Soto trade that are coming up. They had a guy last night. He's like 6'7", outfielder. He's supposed to be a freak. C.J. Abrams is one of the best players in the league. Like already, I love watching that kid play. And there's a couple other ones. So maybe the Marlins can turn things around this trade deadline with a trade like that. And that's how you turn things around, is you get rid of the guys you have. And maybe in like 5 years, these guys turn into something, and it's That's sort of how long you have to wait in baseball to rebuild.
Yeah, who you telling, bro? I mean,
yeah.
but I mean that's exactly right. The Pirates, Ben Cherington's in his 5th year, and the Pirates are a couple games under 500, and if they're probably going to add a bat or two, and I don't know if they'll be a playoff team at least they'll go into September in the hunt, which is something they haven't done in a long time, and the Marlins have to hope to do that. So we'll see. Hey, look, I want to get this whole Florida-Miami football thing. I've been thinking about this the whole time. Then we had Jeff Cardozo on, and then we had Joe Zagacki on. Jeff certainly does pre and post with the Gator football. And by the way, I tried to get a hold of Sean Kelly, but Sean was working Major League Baseball games. He was on his way to Camden Yards to do baseball, so couldn't do it. So Jeff did it, who does a fantastic job. But I got thinking about this after talking to Jeff, who knows it so well, and talking to Joe, who's the voice of the Canes, that think about this for a second, JJ. Both teams have a modicum of confidence. Both teams think they're better than the outsiders think they are, right? Both teams love their old transfer quarterback. Cam Ward just got to Miami. Graham Mertz's 2nd year at Florida. Both teams have coaches who are in their 3rd year and are known as prolific recruiters, and you're starting to see that recruiting success. Both coaches have sort of learned to mind the portal a little bit this year better than they have in the past. So both might have pretty good teams. And both coaches, if they make it through this year, can really start to thrive a little. Yet, they play each other to start the season, and don't you get the sense that whatever team loses, that fan base is just going to be apoplectic?
Yeah, and I think it might. Unfortunately, these are college kids, so it's not like the NFL where the Jags lose week 1 and then turn around and can, shave off 3 straight wins. Like,
right.
You lose game 1 and your fan base is coming after your coach.
Right.
They're coming after you. Like, these kids can fold. I've seen a Miami Hurricane team fold after a bad loss many a year. And, like, that could easily happen to either one of these teams, man. Like, for week 1. That's why I was praying, that this game, you knew this game was scheduled for so many years, but I thought, hopefully it'll be like week 2. We'll have, like, Bethune week 1. No. Let me give you an insane stat. The Miami Hurricanes have not won a season opener against a power conference team since 2012.
Really?
So they open a lot against, like, LSU, Bama.
Yeah.
Bigger schools, Florida, 2019. And they've lost every single one since 2012.
I didn't realize. Well,
and it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth from the very beginning, and it's terrible.
Well, I can tell you, and you know this stat, that I've read it a bunch, the Miami Hurricanes, once the kings of college football. The reason you probably became a Miami fan is because when you were a kid, they were the king of college football or recently removed from it, right? So the Miami Hurricanes, once the kings of college football, have had one 10-win season in the last 22 years.
And that was probly the Richt season when we beat Notre Dame, and it was on game day, and it was I thought we were back.
One 10-win season since 2000.
And you play like 14 games a year now. Yeah, and it's not like back when you played 11.
Think about this. For as bad as Florida has been, as mediocre as Florida has been, they've had, I think, 7 10-win seasons in the last 22 years. Now, part of it's when they were really good under Urban, but
Mullen, you mixed in a couple.
Mullen had 1. McElwain had 2.
Couple SEC championship appearances.
Muschamp had 1.
I mean, I think
Urban
Miami's only ACC title appearance was because Pittsburgh was on probation, or like somebody that finished above them couldn't go.
Yeah.
So they went and got spanked by Clemson.
Yeah, I think as far as 10-win seasons go, since Miami in the stretch where Miami's had 1 in 22 years, as bad as Florida has been, well, let's count. I mean, Urban had 3, Muschamp had 1, McElwain had 2, Mullen had 1. That's 7, right? That's 7 10-win seasons in that. And Florida hadn't been very good, you know. So it's so. But anyway, back to the game. Jeff Cardozo, after talking about how good he thinks Florida can be, and there's hope in the program, but if they lose to Miami, he may not make it. And Joe Zagacki, without being that strong, almost said the same thing, that as good as Mario's been and as excited as they are, and as much momentum as there is in the program, it'll be hard to get over that loss. And that's a road game. You know, I mean, it's a road game in front of 90,000 screaming maniacs. Those are hard to win. I mean, unless you're in college football, if you go on the road to one of these blue bloods where they're going to have 85,000 or more, 80,000 or more. If you go on the road to any of these stadiums that have that, particularly the South, or for that matter, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, one of those. If you go on the road and play a road game against, unless you're appreciably better, it's a hard as hell game to win. You know that? It's a hard game. And now, if you're a good bit better, then you can win it. But
especially you don't have preseason games to get any the offense rolling. I think this is going to be a really ugly defensive performance from both teams. Miami's defensive line, it's made up of like a lot of older guys, a lot of transfers, but they also have Bain in there. Like, I think they're going to do really well. I think Florida's defense is probably going to do well. Both offenses, it might take a little bit to get them in the groove. I think this is going to be really low scoring. You know, even though Cam Ward is there and we have Restrepo and everything, I think they're going to be relying on Restrepo to get like first downs, third and longs, like slow, methodical, cheer when we get a field goal type drives. Like, I think it's going to be a 20-14 final.
Well, Miami, the advantage for Miami is, my guess is they have more good players than Florida. That would be my guess. That's why they're going to go their favored. I think they're favored, right? Are they not favored?
Oh, look, I'm not sure. Probably.
But Miami probably has more good players. Florida benefits from the fact that obviously they're at home and their quarterback has been in the system and Miami's is new. So that's if you had a look at the huge pressure on both of them, because in this day and age of we can't wait to put somebody on the hot seat, both coaches are on a hot seat of sorts, which is crazy to me. Still, I'll go to my grave saying this. You're never gonna draw me into the coach should be on the hot seat in year 3, no matter what. Now there's exceptions, but a coach should never regularly be on a hot seat because he hasn't won enough in years 1 and years 2. But having said that, that is the circumstance we're in right now.
It's the world we live in.
It is.
Miami 2.5-point favorites on the road.
Yeah, and Miami's a favorite because they have more good players. I think if you ask people to assess Cristobal and Napier, they're pretty even. Good recruiters, haven't done as much as coaches, even though Cristobal's been at Oregon. I think that the talent is similar. Usually you get 4 or 5 points for home games in college football, so that means the odds makers are saying they think Miami's about a touchdown better. I think Miami has more good players. Florida has the advantage of being at home and a quarterback who's been in their system. Here's what I think about that game. I think it could be really – there's some games they're either going to be close – they're probably going to be close. Others, you have a pretty good idea who's going to win. I think Miami-Florida, honestly, honest to God, I think that game could be – I think either team could win that game by 2 touchdowns. I think there's so many –
I wouldn't be surprised by anything.
Yeah, that's a game you wouldn't be surprised.
The only thing would be if it's like a 4-touchdown win by somebody. I could definitely see a 14-point victory by somebody.
Look, when Georgia plays Florida, Georgia's either going to roll them or Georgia's going to win by a little bit. It's not all over the map. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I would expect that. When Florida plays Miami, I could see Florida winning that game 28-10. I could see Miami winning that game 31-10, or I could see a close game. We just don't freaking know. Which, by the way, is the way it's supposed to be.
No, you were talking about coaches on the hot seat. That's what neither one could afford. Is getting embarrassed.
That's exactly right. And in Florida's case, I don't follow Miami as closely. Florida can't look dysfunctional. Florida
on special teams having penalties and
the 2 number 3s and 10 players on the field and
that was really only a huge issue for Miami in the Georgia Tech game with the huge coaching mistake at the end, not kneeling the ball.
What about that finish?
Dude.
Yeah. So, but Miami. See, I still think Miami can survive that loss because I think the schedule's easy enough. Did they lose that game? They could still look up and be 6-1.
Yeah.
Florida
cannot.
You
can't let it. Turn into dominoes.
Right. Florida, on the other hand, it's a home game, so it's a harder loss to excuse. And if they don't win that one, remember, they still have that end of the season that is Tennessee,
Gauntlet.
Georgia, Ole Miss, Florida State, Texas. It's a gauntlet like no other gauntlets. So they can't afford to lose that one. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, we have one more show this week. Tomorrow we're looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun. Lee Smith's going to be in here talking golf. We're going to do that on Wednesday since I'm not here after that. Pete Prisco will be here to talk NFL since I'm not going to be here Thursday or Friday. And a lot of other fun surprises or two. So it's going to be fun. One more day of the week as we get closer to the 4th of July. Don't go anywhere. Rick Ballou is next. For JJ and the absent Hays Carlyon, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.